The important thing isn't can you read music, it's can you hear it. Can you hear the music, Robert? Yes, I can.
Christopher Nolan. If you clicked on this video, you know who this guy is. Today, we're going to explore what Auteur techniques he uses to become one of the best directors of all time. Christopher Nolan shooting on IMAX is the cinematic equivalent of using a billboard to watch football edits on YouTube. Sure, smaller screens can do the job, but why settle? In Oppenheimer, Nolan did more than just use 65mm IMAX, which is already rare enough. He had them custom develop black and white 65mm film stock, literally creating a format just because color wasn't enough to contain this man's vision. In Interstellar, Nolan decided that space wasn't vast enough on normal theater screens, so he, again, brought out the big IMAX guns. At this point, it's harder to find a movie that Nolan hasn't shot on IMAX than ones he has. He literally has his cinematographer film handheld action sequences with an IMAX camera. That's like vlogging with a 100-pound brick, and somehow Hoyte van Hoytema did it, dropping you right next to Matthew McConaughey in space. Existential Dread, sold separately. Let's roll back to your imagination here and think of the last Nolan movie you saw in a theater. Do you remember the soundtracks? This guy's films don't just look mega intense, they also sound like they're actively trying to spike your heart rate. In Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson's score is pure espresso, making you feel like you're about to miss a deadline on your history essay. But then, Nolan mutes the entire film during the Trinity test, and suddenly you feel like the Wi-Fi dropped right as you're about to hit the submit button. In Interstellar, Hans Zimmer basically made musical ocean waves. Tranquil for one second and terrifying in the next. His organ crescendos have a way of making you feel like you're small and infinite, perfectly capturing the dread and wonder of exploring space. Christopher Nolan's favorite thing to play with in his movies is time. Oppenheimer jumps around timelines the way girls explain their weekend. It starts on Friday, jumps to Sunday lunch, and then circles back to Saturday night, and you're just left there nodding, pretending you can keep track. The color versus black and white visuals help, but you're still trying to piece the puzzle together on the drive home. In Interstellar, it's easier to understand, but it's still unimaginable to imagine the concept. Spend an hour on a distant planet and come back decades later. I just feel really bad for Romilly, who waited 23 years for his crewmates. Nolan makes cosmic physics relatable by reminding us how awful it feels to miss family moments, especially when "I'll be right back" becomes a decades-long promise. Christopher Nolan's movies aren't just cinematic experiences, they're mental workouts cleverly disguised as entertainment. Through beautiful filmmaking, mind-warping stories, and soundtracks that almost make you go into cardiac arrest, Nolan's auteur techniques keep us on the edge of our seats. So next time you settle into a Nolan movie, grab some popcorn, maybe a notebook, and definitely keep your anxiety handy. You're gonna need it.